Do you contribute to your IRA or Roth IRA as soon as you can, early in the year? Or do you do it at the very last possible second before you file your taxes? Well, I've got a real life planning scenario where we've shifted it significantly. I'll explain that more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. If you're funding your IRA or more likely your Roth IRA, does it matter when you fund it? Should you contribute right away at the beginning of the year, do it every single month, or maybe at the last possible moment? Does it even matter? Well, you're allowed to contribute to your IRA or Roth IRA for that calendar year starting January 1 and going all the way up until April 15 or the tax filing deadline of the next year. So January 1 to 12/31, but beyond that and all the way up until April 15. And if you do it in that next calendar year, you'll just have to say it's for tax year from the year before. So is there a better time to do it? Well, I don't know the future of the stock market. You don't either. However, history tells us that about 3 out of every 4 years the stock market's positive, and therefore I'd want to play the odds. And if cash flow is all the same, and if there's no other reason to delay, I'd fund that thing as early as possible. Get that thing done in January or as soon as you possibly can, so that those odds are in history is in your favor. But if you're contributing monthly out of cash flow, that works as well. But in some circumstances, it makes sense to delay until when you file your taxes. Well, there's a recently retired couple that we've been serving for a decade or so now. And he ran a global company and had good income and was very conservative with his investments and approach and so on. But because of those odds that I mentioned, we always funded IRAs, backdoor Roth, those sorts of things right at the beginning of the year. We would do it in January, sometimes it'd dip into February, and we'd fund them early, okay, for the same reasons that I just mentioned. But this year specifically, we have completely reversed course and are funding them at the very last possible second. So here's the situation. They're both in their late 60s. He's semi-retired, making just a little bit every single month for doing some consulting with this company. Again, he helped run the company for several decades, and so they're keeping him on, and he's got a little bit of income there coming in. But he also at the beginning of the year received a bonus for the previous year for the time that he was full time. So they've got a decent chunk of income, specifically earned income this year. But because they're semi-retired, they also turned on a lot of their income sources in retirement. Haven't started Social Security yet. We're delaying that. But interest income and some other sources of income, it's going to push their total income up in the 220, 215 range, somewhere in there. And so they've got enough income, earned income, in order to contribute to IRAs or Roth IRAs. So, and we knew that. We knew he was going to get a bonus. We knew that he was going to be staying, semi-retired, staying on payroll for a little bit. And so at the beginning of the year, we made the decision, well, should we make a contribution to the Roth IRAs this year? Do we think we'll do IRAs? What do we think is needed? And we decided, no, let's see how the interest income, dividend income, capital gain income, all that stuff sorts itself out. And then when we meet here in the fall, right about now, we'll do a tax projection and see if we should fund those IRAs at this point. Well, we met recently, and as I share with you, the approach that we take with our clients, part of tax planning, which is one of the 6 areas of your financial life, part of that is building a proactive tax return. We call it a tax projection. Ideally, a multi-year tax projection where before the year is over, you're doing an educated guess, an assumption, a projection of how you think the taxes will land at the end of the year. So what are your income sources, how much, and so on. And we should be able to get pretty close. We know what his pay stubs are showing as far as income. We've got bank statements and we've got investment statements showing interest and dividends. What we don't know is capital gains or exactly where the interest and dividends will land. Some of the other income sources we don't know precisely, but it was close enough where we could make an educated guess, like I said, and it's going to be around $215,000. Well, if that's the case, what threshold are we very close to? Are they very close to, given their age in their late 60s? They're right on the line, very close to the line of the threshold for income-related monthly adjustment amounts, IRMA, okay? And the tricky thing about IRMA, or what you pay for your Medicare Part B, is it's based on your modified adjusted gross income from the prior year. So for tax year 2024, we've got to get that modified adjusted gross income level at a point where in 2026, 2 years from now, they will be able to pay the base rate for their Medicare Part B and Part D and not have to pay the IRMA surcharge. Here's the problem. We don't know what those IRMA thresholds are going to be. We only know what they are right now. And based on that, it looks like their $215,000 to $220,000 is going to be really close to where those thresholds will be for 2026. Therefore, funding their IRAs. They've got enough earned income. They can fund IRAs or Roth IRAs, but even right now, in November, we said, nope, I believe we'll want to do a full IRA contribution for one of you, $8,000, and the other will want to do a Roth IRA contribution, but I want to wait as long as possible so that we get your entire return done, a draft of your return done, and we go through it and make sure everything's captured, and then we can see exactly where your modified adjusted gross income is, and therefore exactly how much pre-tax contribution we should do, and then how much Roth we should do. And we'll delay that. We set up our tax meeting for the second half, the very end of March, and that gives us enough time to get the return done, maybe even review it a few times if needed before the 15th, and still make a wise contribution, whether it's all to pre-tax or just partial to pre-tax and the rest to Roth, but do so in a way that optimizes their tax picture to get them below what we expect the IRMA threshold to be for 2026, and then fund the Roth IRAs after that. This highlights one of the reasons why, when you're determining when you should make an IRA or Roth IRA contribution, optimizing your contributions, optimizing to determine how much should be pre-tax, how much should be Roth, so that you either reduce the risk of IRMA or prevent yourself from going into a higher tax bracket, maybe capture a tax credit, something like that. This is one of the reasons why, instead of contributing to the IRA or Roth IRA right away at the beginning of the year, you want to prepare your return and get it completely dialed in to then optimize your contribution. That's one of the reasons why you might want to delay. Another reason doesn't apply in their situation, but are you even eligible? Do you know? Maybe at the beginning of the year you have every intention, I want to contribute to Roth IRAs, but you're not sure exactly where your income's going to land, and your income ends up being too high where you're unable to make a contribution directly to your Roth IRA and need to either consider after-tax IRA contribution, backdoor Roth contribution, something like that. So that's the second reason why you may want to delay funding your IRA or Roth IRA until your tax filing deadline. Either way, you need to be doing that proactive tax planning work with your certified financial planner who's helping you in all 6 areas of your financial life, specifically planning out your taxes, projecting out your taxes, and optimizing your tax shelter contribution. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com, that's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com, you can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.